afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on folks. Your man always Judge Page, aka the Emperor of Female Button Talk, coming to you live on YouTube, folks. Been a busy day, busy day. I mean, there's been a couple of shows that hit. The Master Olympia just finished up, wrapped up this morning, and you know they started really early because in Japan. Oh wow, whoa. Congratulations to Tiana Flex. I had the pleasure to interview her a couple of days before the show. That's the second time I got a chance to interview somebody before the show. They won their Olympic qualification. She's a great lady, amazing person for South Africa. Her husband, Tony, really cool people. I hope to have mom maybe later. I got to give them some time to heal and relax because traveling, what they were doing from to South Africa, Japan, that's a lot. And also, congratulations to Nala Silva, who won the women's physique division. Tomorrow, I think, will be the other divisions. I'm not going to pay too much attention to them because mostly my following is women's bodybuilding and women's physique. But I might mention, depending, certain people win. If it's a certain person I don't want to see win, I'm not going to say nothing. But also, congratulations also to Brooke Walker, who yesterday won her second Olympic qualifications. Brooke got her won it back in 2022, and then she last competed in 2023 because in 2022 she was in top 2 at the Olympia that year, top 3, and then she dropped the 4th that year, and then we hadn't seen her for a while. Fan of hers, beautiful physique, beautiful person. I've interviewed quite a few ladies who have been friends of her. Well, now we have the Texas Pro going on. Don't know the winners yet. Shout out to my dear friend, the lovely Mrs. Marika Jones, who did both Texas and Tupelo. The Iron Woman. So, folks, so anyways, we played from that. We have here the lovely lady, and she's another lady how I got to meet while my trip to Tampa, where I went to help out my dear friend, shout out to Eunice and Bad Rap. Big and defined, ripped and pumped. That's the acronym. If you want to check it out, go to the Bad Rap IG. Also, you can order stuff and also do the man's line. She got me this nice hat. I know she said, George, where do you interviews? I will, but sometimes I might want to take it off here now. But thank you, Eunice. I appreciate you. So, folks, we have the lovely Alexandrea Blankenship, if I got your name right now.
Yes, but you can call me Alex.
Alex. All right, Alex. That's she's a cute little thing. Look at her. She looks so like she's like a little tiny little toy you want to play with. I know. I feel like I know. Well, I got to admit it because I'm a big dude. I'm a big brother, but I'm not like a tall big dude. But she's a little thing. I feel like that that Obama snowman from the old Looney Tunes. I fucking love her and call her George. And I broke her the little rabbit. But he is IFBB Physique Pro. She just made her debut a week ago at the Tampa Bay Pro doing Masters. And we're going to share her story, what got her started, and what is her plans now. She's now stepping with the big dog. So, Alex, welcome and thank you for your time.
No worries. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity for an interview.
I appreciate it. I give anybody the opportunity to share their story because your ladies have a story about this is the thing about bodybuilding. It's a very extreme and serious sport. And especially for a woman to get into it and to grow and develop is a path. So, as I often say this, what got you started? This sport, as I call it, muscle and masculinity. Appreciate
So, I have been lifting for probably consistently. And by consistently, I mean at least 6 days a week, not really taking a vacation from being inside of the gym and staying pretty much regimented year round with my diet for the past like 12, 13 years. What spurred me to get started with like seriously getting into fitness and going into the gym uh, was the birth of my daughter. She's 13 now, but when she was born, uh, before her, I was one of those like cardio bunnies. I'd be in the gym maybe like twice a week, if that, or maybe even 3 times, and I'd just be one of those girls who were just go work out here, go work out there, no plan really, but mostly just doing cardio. And not really knowing a whole lot about lifting weights and not really per se like into fitness or even bodybuilding. It wasn't even on my radar at that point. But back then I was maybe a little over 100 pounds, close to 110 pounds. Uh, at the at the time that my daughter was born, right before she was born, I was a little over 165 pounds. And after she was born, maybe about 2 or 3 months after post birth, I was still like 140, almost 150 pounds. And so I knew that I had quite a bit of weight. I had gained quite a bit of just excess weight. It wasn't, it wasn't the baby at that point anymore. It was just what I had gained while I was pregnant. and and yeah, it was a huge wake up call. I came away from being pregnant after giving birth with just overall like high blood pressure. I was in the beginning stages of like hypertension, things I had never even experienced before, really, and I knew that I needed to start getting back at least to the starting point. So when I was able to start getting back into the gym consistently, and I took a real rein in on my diet. It took a little over 2 years for me to get back into shape, but during that getting back into shape, I had been I went on to bodybuilding.com back when they had those free training programs that you could kind of sign up for through their app. And I was just following their lifting programs. And I just really I immediately kind of fell in love with like lifting weights, progressively lifting stronger and stronger as I followed through the program. And so I was just in love with it. And so that started the whole obsession with just, making it part of my daily routine of making sure that I had the fitness going, and I started also taking just a really a really huge interest in like learning more about nutrition at that point as well, and like not only to I guess maximize and improve my health, but really it's like understanding how your diet uh, affects not only just like your body composition and your overall health, but how you know how it affects everything else, all the other health markers that you may not pay attention to until you unfortunately start getting diseases and symptoms of things down the road. So uh, it wasn't until 2020, around actually right after pandemic had officially started in the US, and I decided to get into my very first contest, and that was with OCB. Um, it's a drug tested natty federation, and I had placed second overall in women's figure in that competition. Um, and then I continued to do a couple of more until I ultimately got my pro card in figure with OCB. I did a handful more shows with OCB and also with INBA. My first show with INBA, I got my pro card there as a wellness athlete. I once wellness division I guess came online for NPC. All the other divisions like very quickly followed in opening up their own divisions. I personally love the look of the wellness division. I think that is not just sexy, but like I love the proportions, especially with having such a huge focus on the legs, a V tapered in waist, and a little bit more muscle than bikini has on top. And I think that is just like the perfect female look. So that was a physique that I had been back in my mind just like chasing for a while. I knew I didn't really fit into figure. Being a shorter girl, the figure division, in my opinion, usually favors the taller women who have an extreme X shape or just V tapered waist, and long legs, not particularly thick legs. That usually tends to kind of mess up the overall symmetry when you're a figure athlete. And So I looked at wellness. I was training towards a wellness physique for a good 2 years, and also competing in there, and throwing in uh, some NPC local shows as well in there, while still competing uh, with OCB and PNBA. Uh, PNBA is the professional league of IMBA, but um, after after I started getting into some NPC shows, I really saw the level of competition there. Um, with um, with with natural shows, you know, it there is something to say for athletes to achieve that level, completely natural. But everybody and their mama will tell you, when it comes to MPC and even the IFBB, those those leagues, those federations, the class of athletes are out of this world. There is nothing that can compare to them. So when I started competing in there, I was kind of just like blown away. And also, also, I say that I was blown away and amazed, and it motivated me even more, because I got knocked off my pedestal with the natural leagues. It was it was kind of, I don't want to say it was easy. It was easy to, be at the top. I was already kind of like a big fish. I had been lifting for so long as a lifetime natural. I had a lot of muscle already developed at that point that I had started competing with, the natural federations. But once you get into NPC, dipping your toes in there, and I just got knocked off my little pedestal. I was like, oh, I'm not the big dog anymore. I'm not, by default anymore. Wow, I'm starting to see some, placings I've never encountered anymore. And being a very competitive person, that just kind of drove me to, I was like, okay, all right, I have a benchmark here in NPC. We're going to fully like just go over to NPC and exclusively into NPC, because unfortunately, with the natural federations that I was a member with, if you touch NPC or IFBB, you do have to forego your membership. You're no longer allowed to compete with those other federations, period. So
Mm.
I decided, I actually got booted off of an OCB show because they had found out that I had competed with INBA, which is the other drug tested natural federation. They didn't like that too much, so they canceled me off of a show for that one. And once I showed up on NPC News Online with my little competition photos, when I started competing in some local shows, it was there for all to see. So I was just kind of kicked off completely with the other feds. So
Yeah,
I knew what was going to happen. So
that kind of happens also in the IFBB because a while back there was a competitor who was at a show. Even he wasn't there competing; he was just there with a client. And sometimes they have strict rules about even when their pros be at the shows. Some shows with OCB, I think they give them a little allowance because I know my man KL Wanda, he goes to OCB pros because he lives in New York, and
mhm.
he ran to later interview a while back. Michelle Moon, who is the IFBB pro, she was there, with a friend and supporting a client. And OCB, I've interviewed some ladies from OCB. It's a different level because natural bodybuilding takes a lot more time compared to the more enhanced competitors. And it's tough to be in, like, you start off with the big fish in a little pond. Now you come to this big pond, and now it's like this. You say, you look at you, you're a flea, and I'm the big dog. And it's just it's tough to, but it's about the process that you're growing. And also, I can understand dealing with issues because I have some issues like about 11 years ago, I had my first heart attack.
Oh,
It was just right before my 40, just right a little before my 40th birthday. And I have a pacemaker, had for at least 11 years. That's about 11 years coming up around about a month after next. And also, I deal with stuff because of genetics. My mother, she was diabetic. One of my sisters diabetic. Our family has issues, And that's tough, especially after have a child. It changes your body because this is somebody who depends on you and is feeding off you, and then habits sneak in, especially when it comes to food. But that's the thing about bodybuilding. It's the process of eating and nutrition that's very important.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Mm,
Because the saying is true, you cannot outlift, you cannot outrun, you cannot outtrain a bad diet. And that diet controls 80 plus percent of what you ultimately look like and how you ultimately are able to perform as an athlete
mhm.
altogether. So yeah.
Yeah, that thing is it's also you have to be consistent with your diet. You can't, change too often. You have to follow certain lines, macros, all that. I'm a big dude. I this is one thing I remember because like yourself, I was at one point at my highest weight. I was at actually 480. And because I was talking with you earlier, I was thinking my mom, and sometimes food is a comfort, and also
Yeah.
especially when you go into stress stuff because you feel so like you need something. Sometimes we're on the road doing this, doing that. Sometimes my mom like to eat certain things, and I eat with her. But when she passed, I said, you know what? I saw a picture of myself. It was like at the funeral, sitting in a chair. My sister took a picture of me, and I looked at it. I said, God, I'm not that big. I'm still a big dude, but still, it's just I'm right now. I'm sitting at 405, and I wish I could do more because I got issues with my knees. Like when I came on my trip, my knees. I felt like the late Ozzy Osbourne. Sharon, rest in peace, Ozzy. And I do try to eat a little healthy, but sometimes I'm not perfect. I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
it's always I think that's a huge that is a huge aspect about how like food plays a role with us, especially like when we deal with traumas throughout childhood, and food becomes food at some point becomes a it helps alleviate something, or during that process of getting a trauma. And you know we we continue to grow and develop, and those are kind of at the very least in subconsciously kind of baked into us. And so we subconsciously respond to if if we've used food as a I guess a comfort, as a child, then we will continue that behavior. We may not even realize that we're doing that, growing up as adults. And it's those hard baked in subconscious things that we've developed and grown, we've brought in throughout into our adulthood. Those things are very hard to change or modify, you know if if um if that type of behavior, going to resorting to food, um starts causing us issues with our weight and what have you. It's one of those things that you can't just say, well, you got to stop, stop eating so much. You'd solve the problem if you stopped eating. Well, we're humans, and you know, unfortunately, some of our behaviors, like I just mentioned, they play a part in making sure that we continue to do that behavior. So it's really hard to break or modify or change that up on a dime. You're a full grown adult. You've honed in on that behavior, for most of your life, and now you're having to change it. So that's a really hard thing to have to do. So, and unfortunately, you know, you are speaking to the choir, as far as like how much of a struggle it is to kind of like get out of your state. um I will say, as a child, up until I was in my early to mid 20s, around that time I started becoming the cardio bunny that I mentioned. But I was actually overweight, almost obese, from the time that I was a child all the way up until my 20s. Um, and my like half of my family, my dad and his entire family, they're from North Carolina. Type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, cancer, usually for women ovarian, or for men prostate. cancer and hypertension, but most importantly, the cardiovascular heart disease. They were huge genetic runners in the family, and everybody had type 2 diabetes, and everybody would die usually around age 70 or younger, either from heart disease, and with that heart disease, a heart attack would finally get them, but or type 2 diabetes related medical complication, um, or cancer, one of the
Yeah,
cancers. So
I can feel you because like I'm from North Carolina, my family, and this also we grew up, like how food is. Like, what's your ethnic background?
I'm half black, half Korean.
Oh, well, that's amazing. It's very ancient. You're a sister, but also your soul sister. So,
Yeah.
so,
Yes, soul sister. Yeah.
so like, who was your father was black or your mother?
Yeah, my father is black. He was in the Air Force. He
Oh,
got stationed in Seoul, Korea, actually, and that's where he met my mom. He was stationed there for a couple of years, and they got married. And he decided that they were going to come back to the U.S. He after he finished his tour of duty over in Seoul. So they moved back stateside, and yeah, uh, they did get divorced. Maybe it's been probably a good 15 years now, but but yeah, uh, yeah.
that's like I said here. My parents, my mother and father, my mother married my father when she was 16. My father was 20. I got a sister. She's actually about 17 years older than me. Actually 16 because she's turning 67 this year. So yeah, and they were even though they're together for 55 years, my dad was living in New Jersey. He had another daughter, another woman. Mom was down here in North Carolina with us,
Yeah.
and my father passed it out 11 years ago, and my mom passed about just 5 years ago. And it's good that it's tough, especially when you see your parents. You hear some things from them, like stuff like that, and especially being from the South, how food is a tradition around here. But it's about making healthy choices and decisions, and especially like I said, I am obese. I know it, but I'm trying to do a little better. But doing this conversation with you ladies, I get to learn something because people don't understand that there's some aspects that a lot of us share. We have here my man. I've been talking about him. He just came here speaking of the devil. He's my man KL the Wanderer. He says, good evening, brother. And yeah, I mean, it's tough about that. But then the whole thing with bodybuilding, it can be extreme, especially with your because like what's your dimensions, your height, your build, what you sitting at right now? Just post your show.
Well, as you mentioned, I just got done with the Tampa Pro, but I will be showing up at the Linda Murray ATL Pro Show, Super Show next weekend. So I'll be going down to Atlanta for that. And also the Pittsburgh IFBB World Championships Masters Show at the end of the month. I'll be up there as well. And maybe I still haven't decided yet, but this Arizona Scorcher, and I believe Tempe as Arizona mid September. So I'm currently still in competition prep right now. But right now I am 4'8", 108.6 pounds as of this morning.
4 foot
But
8.
yeah,
You're only 3 inches shorter than Michaela Acock, who's 4'11".
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, some of you ladies, I think usually this was with the smaller, shorter women, they can really put on muscle, but
yeah,
it's all depending on the frame. You look at Michaela's, her frame's very kind of because I think she's more longer in the torso, short in the legs. You look at I think a couple of ladies like I was when I was at Tampa, I got to meet Ashley Jones, and she's like maybe about 5 feet tall. I saw Derek Lungford. That dude is short. He's, I'm taller than him. He's like you. But a lot of these guys and dudes in bodybuilding, they're kind of short. We have here. This is I think this is it Feliciana. Hello Feliciana. I believe that's her. She is a pro boxer I interviewed. She's fire. I interviewed her yesterday. She's a great lady. I hope to see her. She also has competed in bodybuilding for a bit. And that's the thing about it.
Nice.
The sport can be a lot of work, dedication, support and support is good. Like you mentioned that you have a daughter. You have a husband too.
Yes, we're currently separated though. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I won't get into that. And that's the thing about it. I've talked to ladies that tell me stories that sometimes doing the sport can change the relationship because what you're doing, you're changing the aspects of what is considered a woman and feminine in their mindset. And some men are not comfortable with that, with their women gaining muscle and building their bodies, and sometimes changing their habits because some guys are traditional. But the other day, I had a couple on here. They were at the child, as I mentioned, Tiana Flex and her husband Tony. They work together, train together. I have a friend. His name is Vic Keith Williams. Him and his wife Tina. They're good friends of mine. They are both IFB pro level bodybuilders.
Hmm.
Just interviewed a guy named John. Him and his wife, who's been on before as guests. It's finding that right person that's comfortable with your evolution as a bodybuilding and also as a woman.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that is difficult and tough. I will say that a couple of years ago, uh, that was a point in my a point of contention in the marriage. Me continuing to lift weights and be obsessed in the gym about it, and when my soon-to-be ex saw the change in the physique, um, me continuing to put on muscle, and even as a natty athlete, I don't particularly think that you could really fall into the, oh, she looks bulky, she looks like a man face, man,
What?
that type of gear that is normally
this,
associated
this, this, I'm gonna say it like this,
with
Lisa.
us. But
Folks, this
yeah,
is not a man. This is a very attractive young lady. She
yes,
is. She has
yes.
a child. Like I said, I'm gonna pull some pictures I found earlier, and this is what I love about you ladies. Like this one she sent to me here a while ago. It's a freaking friend of I took some shots of her here right there. Now, if you don't find that sexy, I don't know what's wrong with you. And
Thank-
also this one here, in the water. Oh yeah, I want to get in there and swim. I want to dun. And this one here, it's the cutest one. Here's this one right here. Oh my God, those big doe eyes. Who can't fall in love with? Like, I want to take you home and treat you like a little toy dolly. I just say like this. Here's the thing about this: with guys who say that are usually guys who are intimidated by women like yourself. You're not like you're a big, like you're like huge giant. You're like like raw. You're not like raw. You're a cute, petite little woman. Very appealing
thank
woman, I would
you.
say. Never say, man, I'm a Southern gentleman. You never say have to say thank you when I tell a lady that she's beautiful. But I think people are just not comfortable with it. And if this thing with your ex, if that anything, maybe I know couples who start out like that when they were kind of, but then they get to the gym together and found a passion. I interviewed a lady the other day where her and her husband, they were both competing at the Tampa. She was competing at the amateur show. He was competing in the pro,
Yeah.
and that's good bonding. But the thing is, you have to be willing and wanting, like this. Like when I have a little side to me sometimes. And like this, if you want to join me, you have to be willing and wanting. Sometimes even the devil don't take souls without accepting his rules. But that's the thing is, you have to be understanding. This is something that's for you. After
Yeah. Yeah.
you found something that really passionate about it. It's not like you're neglecting him, but if he's not willing to step up and be a part of that, then that's on him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But yes, that is one of the that's that's a huge dream of mine. Going in, whenever I'm ready for the next relationship, I'm like, he has got to be in love with the same gym lifestyle, and that is real couple goals. If he can also compete, and like we could do like couples vacations as like going to travel to compete in the same show.
Well, that's a great dream, but let's say that let's have a man who says you want somebody to love you and to share you. And other stuff
Yeah.
that he should love about you, he should love that. It may not be him, might not be things. Like I said, no other guys who love their wives and you support them, but they're not into the bodybuilding part of it, but you love them because they support them. But that's the one you want somebody to love you and to share you with yourself. So, folks, what we're gonna do here is while we got the lovely Alex on here, we're going to jump to her social media for a little bit. You want to follow her? Her links in the description of this live. Check her out, support her. But guys, this is it's no offense to you, Alex. It's a rule I tell verbatim, and I know some people say you need to tell that, but the fact is sometimes I got to do that because I wouldn't be who I am, guys. We follow these ladies, and even though you guys are fans, ladies, no weird shit, no deep pics. She got a kid. I know she's cute. I know you want. I want to show you something, Alex. No, stop that, you sick freak. What's wrong with you? Stop it. Come on. Come on. I talked to tell me about that shit. I said, this true story, Alex. Me and a friend, her name is Marianne, and we were on a live together, on IG. And we're just talking. And next thing you know, I played football in high school. I've seen guys naked. It's not nothing new. But then some guy comes in. Okay, she lets him in. I think probably was a friend of hers. Next thing you know, right there in IG, showed his shit, dropped his pants.
Oh.
No underwear.
Oh.
Freaking embarrassed everything.
Yeah.
Yes. I expect to see that. No. But folks, like I said again, I'll tell you guys, don't do that shit. It's disgusting. It's not very attractive. And women don't think it's sexy. So we're going to jump in here at IG for a little bit. And also about her, I was looking through IG that she's a suit designer. So when you started that?
I started it about 3 years ago. So I've always been a crafty person, and I've always been a frugal person. So when you look up, when you are a female athlete and you're looking to buy a competition suit, uh, you'll very quickly find out that this sport overall is expensive, but it's more expensive for the ladies because suits usually cost anywhere from a couple $100 up to well over $1,000. So I knew how to sew. I knew how to put gems on a suit, and I started doing my own suits. And I started to make suits for other folks. And I thought, hey, why don't I try to open up a competition suit shop where I make some basic posing suits, some higher end, what I call base suits, uh, which are the suits that don't have gems on it, but they allow you to put on gems yourself if you want to do that whole process yourself, or if you want just like a nicer end posing suit. And I also do the full on gem suits, like the one that you see in my video for
Yeah.
when I won my pro card. And also,
Yeah.
I do men's posing trunks. Um, so any men's classic physique and men's bodybuilding athletes, I do also have suits for them as well.
Yeah, because that's the thing is like that is women's bodybuilding compared to female bodybuilding compared to the men is very expensive. Guys got to wear a pair of banana hammocks and board shorts. You
Yeah.
ladies, especially when you compete, you have to have your hair, your makeup done, not just accounting the travel expenses to the shows. And you competed in masters, that means you have to pay the play. And I forget you were doing 40, right?
Yes. Hmm.
I forgot what was your place. I think you were in the top five.
Yeah. At the Tampa Pro, which was my very first IFBB Pro show, I placed fourth in Masters 40 plus for the women's physique division.
That's pretty good. I mean, I
Masters,
was there.
Masters 40 plus. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there. I was watching. I said, "Wow, who's this little cute little thing?" And I recognized, oh, that's that girl I was talking to on 9G. So and yeah, that's the thing about it. It's cost. And you said you earned your pro card back in was it 2023, right?
With MPC, I got my IFBB Pro card. Was it exactly a year ago? I believe. Don't
Uh-huh.
quote me on that, but I believe actually, yeah. Back in July 2024, I got my IFBB Pro card.
And that
I've
was
had
it.
a pro card with a couple of other uh, federations, like I mentioned before. OCB, which I got a pro card with them in 2021. Um, INBA slash PNBA. I got my pro card with them in 2023.
Hmm. Yeah, because you were, I think it was the Teen Collegiate Show. We got your pro card.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. This weekend. I think next a couple weeks is going to be the North Americans. It's probably one of the biggest shows. Gary Unit promotes that. And what was that feeling like? When they told you now you are IFB Pro.
Um, I was crying. I you know, for having transitioned from a wellness athlete, and prior year trying to do wellness with NPC and getting some of the worst placings I have ever experienced, and getting going through quite a couple of pro qualifier shows or national level shows as wellness, and just getting downtrodden and demotivated, coming back as a women's physique competitor, and actually stepping up on stage and getting my pro card finally. I was crying. I was surprised actually, because I was expecting, what, this is going to be another letdown, but I'm going to emotionally get myself ready, and we will commit to grind again, um, keep showing up, and strategize with my prep coach, how I can best pivot, what I need to do, what I need to change in order to get that pro card win. But luckily, they called my name. I was um, I was competing in both women's physique and women's bodybuilding in masters during that show. So I got my pro card in the women's bodybuilding under the lightweight division. So, but yeah, I was super excited. I was super pumped. I know usually some folks they like to take a full like 2 years plus off before they do their pro debut, but I've always been quite an impatient person. So I decided, hey, I'm going to give myself a couple of months, and before I step back into prep mode, and we will step on stage again. So that's where I am, and after September, I'll take a break.
Yeah, I was when I was there. I was talking to one of the ladies who was in your class. That was April, and she hadn't competed for 10 years, and that was her pro debut. She won the
Wow.
Masters 40. Oh, yeah, that was a pro debut. Great. I mean, when we talk right now, I hope we're doing interviews sometime next week. Great physique. I was talking. I was actually talking to her mother. Who was at the because I think she also did the Open the next day. I was talking to her mother. So you should get a shirt for it. It says top 10, 10 years. I mean, and it's like everybody has a time. I know some ladies who got the pro card, and then jump into a pro show, maybe just a few weeks later. Also, I mean, it was Rania who got a pro card USA's the week before, and she jumped in and made her pro debut at Tampa. I think same thing. Taylor, if you know met her, Hunter Henson was there, and she did the same thing too. That she when she turned pro at USA's, no more than barely a week or so later, she made a pro debut. That was back in 2021 at the Tampa Bay Pro. I think everybody has the time. Some competitors need the time to grow. Some people want to jump into the fire as soon as they can. And also like again, it's the cost because again for y'all ladies, it's more of a cost.
That's
So yeah, and that thing is like, who's your like you talk about your prep coach? Who's your coach and how long you been working with him?
um right now my prep coach. This is the first year that I've been working with him. He is Derek Natcher with Loud Performance Training, and I've been working with him for the past couple of months so far, and he's been great. Our synergy has been amazing. He's got the right personality for what I need in order to get through a prep season. So, but before that, I worked with Sarah Mountain with Brazen Maiden training, and I was with her for I believe 2, if not like close to 3 years. She was amazing. She did step out of coaching actually, and referred me to Derek Natcher now, and I'm very thankful that she did. But yeah, that's those are the two folks that I've I've worked with since I've been competing with NPC.
Yeah, I think everybody's trying to find the right person to work with. I heard people talk about how jump from coach to coach, but then sometimes you can like I interviewed a lady who's she's Filipino, and and she's about maybe a little bit. You might be just about the same height. She might be slightly taller. Her name is God, Lieberman. I forgot her first name. It's back in my head. She remember her first coach was a bodybuilding legend, and then she said like this. She switched to another coach. Said sometimes you have that coach to get you through high school, but you need that coach when you hit the big leagues. And that's the thing is sometimes some people might talk about jumping from coach to coach, but it's about finding a good fit, especially for a woman. I've known ladies who told me stories where they had coaches to give them a cookie cutter plan that works for a man. But men and women, we are biologically different. How I
Yep.
said this, we're the same race, but we're different species. What works for a guy, because guys, we have natural testosterone. We can, like, when one time I lost weight, it'll take me long to boom, because, once I get motivated and, get exercise and follow a good diet, boom, I can drop a lot of weight. But women, because y'all have high BMI, it's adult, you have a child, you have most of your weight's going to be hips, your thighs, your breasts, the parts where it's going to carry it more, and it's a lot harder. But it's good to find somebody understand, because a lot of people go think about bodybuilding. It's just pushing steroids, and you're looking like this and big, and you sound like Arnold, getting the chopper, yeah, there's not a tumor, if you kill it, you must bleed, but there's more to it. When I, conversations with people tell me, if because you were doing natural, and the natural is a lot harder because you have to find ways, because when you use performance enhancers, it helps you for recovery. But when you do it naturally, it takes you a lot longer to cover because you have something to help with the aches and the pains.
Quick disclaimer: I am not natty anymore. just I just don't want to confuse folks out there.
Well,
that
so that's a good.
we jumped off of that ship back after I left the other federations. So
Yeah.
once I got online, once I got in with NPC and I saw the competition level, I was like, game plan, let's go. I want to be an IFBB pro. I understand what that's going to entail or take, and let's do it.
Yeah, well, I know some ladies. I think some ladies who are still natural and clean in the IFBB NPC. It's a lot tougher, but
Yeah.
they are determined because and also the IFB and NPC are trying to open more natural. It wasn't just about a couple of months ago. The Pittsburgh Pro had a natural pro qualifier. There's going to be a show coming up in I think in another month or so, which is the Ben Weeder Natural Show. It's named
Yep.
after Joe Weeder's brother. Natural. OCB. I have a lady. Her name is Nicole Strauss. She's a friend of mine. She's a OCB figure pro. She's gonna make her debut in about a month or so. But like I said, that's the thing about it. It does help you with recovery. It does help you to get over it. But most people keep talking about pads and steroids, but that's what they are. It's not like back in the day you see some guy shooting in the bathroom. Sometimes if you have a cycle, you're not on it every day. You're only on it when you are competing because you need that extra boost to keep you going.
Hmm.
Mhm. Well, we get here, shout out to my man here, Dylan McCain, coming through. He uh, said Andrea, also Alexandria, you look great. George,
You.
love your show, buddy. Appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. So now the plan is the Atlanta Pro. That is the Linda Murray show. It's been around quite some time. Actually, I have family in Atlanta. I have my oldest niece and my oldest great nephew are there. I was thinking about going to Atlanta one year, but then my car broke down on me. I was putting money to the side, get it fixed. But now I said, fuck that Cloud Hawker. And I'm just trying to find myself, maybe get myself a new car. But then when it's come up with a situation with my friend Eunice, I said, you know what? I hadn't been to a bodybuilding show in 3 years. My first show was in Savannah. And it was an experience for me. And I was just awestruck. And seeing all these people, seeing I even meeting people that I follow on social media, ladies I've even interviewed, meeting people like I met Lena Popa, and she is beautiful as close as a person, and it was an experience for me. And then going to Tampa, it was a great experience for me. I mean, seeing my friend Eunice, hanging out with her, helping her with a booth, and then one of the highlights for me was I got to meet a legend of rock, David Lee Roth, Diamond Dave. I mean, if you don't know who he is, he was the first true lead singer of Van Halen. And especially coming up, in the 80s, Van Halen kind of crossed over into the urban market because, Eddie Van Halen was playing the synthesizer. That was not very popular in rock.
Yeah,
But it was a great experience for me. I didn't get to see you and talk to you and several other ladies while I was there.
that's awesome. I was like, who's that? Who's this guy?
You were born in 80. I was born in 70. That means I'm gonna be 51 this coming. There's only barely, I think, a good,
You
yeah.
are not, you were no, you were
I
not
am.
51.
I was born
No.
1970. I was born November 1974.
Y'all, when I met this man in person, face wise, I was like, okay, young man. I was like, you're in your third, like I assumed like you were in your 30s. Like, you do
Well,
not look like you're
well,
50.
here's two things. I have no wife. I have no kids. I ran into a friend of mine. We went to high school together. He looks older than me. We went to the same high school together. He has his oldest son is now 29, and he has a 6-year-old grandchild. You know, it's just that only responsibility I had was to my mother. She was my woman.
Yeah.
I took care of her. We took care. She was my riding buddy, and she died during the midway through the pandemic around 2020.
Mm.
And she had caught the virus, and because she was already sick with some of the stuff, that kind of broke my heart. But still, I kept marching on, and and now that it's got me, and doing this content and talk to you ladies, I get the opportunity to hear your stories and to hear what gets you started in this sport. Because society views bodybuilding not as a popular sport, but as you know, just this weekend, you had one of the biggest shows outside the Olympia, outside also the Classic in Japan. You know, you have the Linda Murray show coming up, Texas Pro that's being promoted by Sarah Vilgas. And the sport is expanding. Like being in sport, is there anybody that you particularly follow, that you pay attention to, that even you admire as a bodybuilder?
Um, well, I admire um I admire a couple of folks. My actually my inspo uh just because like I'm a little bit of a fangirl and I really love his look. Like I've always like really loved his look. Um and I'm not one of those crazy folks that like I know everything about him or anything, or I'm super uh investigative of his like social media.
Let me guess.
Yes.
Chris Sebum.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
who?
Nope.
Who is it? Who is it?
Um Nick Walker. Yeah.
Oh, Big Nick.
Yes, he's a
Big
short
Nick.
dude. His I I was just blown away and amazed at like how much muscle mass he can gain and being a short king. So that just like I instantly attached to that. So like so I see the short king out there and I'm like, and he's really just like kind of optimized how much muscle mass like he can really get on his frame, and it's a unique physique compared to everybody else, including other short kings like himself. He just has that unique frame, and yeah, I actually had the opportunity to see him at the Ben Weeder's Natural Pro AM show, and I saw him walking through, and I was like, and I went up to him. I was like, "Are you Nick Walker?" And he looked at me and he's like, "Yeah, yeah." I was like, "Can I take a picture with you?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure." And he's like, and I was like, just next to him, like,
I tell you, when I was there at I got to meet a guy who used to remember following Kevin LeVron, and he was there, and I talked to him and said, Mr. LeVron, I remember you when I was in the we look at the muscle mags. You should have been Miss Olympia a couple of times. He told me, say, yeah, he agreed with me. And also, I was with us was there was I was with took a picture with Tim Gardner, with Isabel Terrell. She's on the other side because she's huge and tall and she got a lot of boobs. So I'm not sure like a parrot. And then I was also there with his worst enemy, Bobby Chick.
yeah.
Yeah, he got a shirt that said "fuck Bob." So that's yeah. You ever seen it? Yeah,
I have
like
not seen the shirt.
I've seen it. There's a lady I know. We did an interview about. She's a friend of mine also. Her name is Monica. She does not like Bob because Bob makes some comments about her. She does not
Oh,
like him. I mean, yeah, Bob. I know he's been in the game for a long time, but Bob, you gotta be a little bit, But here we got some comments here. Shout out to my guest. Also, this is from again, this is from Dylan McCain. Dylan says, Alexandria, you have a great personality. Keep rocking, girl.
thank
He says. Also, he said, this is Alexandria. You have a great. Oh, he must have did it twice, by accident. He said this one says George. He says, your wait, go ahead. Your mother would be proud. I know she would because when she wanted us, she'll always do what you do. This is from my man KL. He says this. He says, shout out to him. He says, you sound like a groupie. Who wouldn't be? It's like if you go to these events and some of these people that you see, like one person we're a fan of. And if anybody, you guys know who I'm talking about. When this lady, she changed the sport of bodybuilding, in my opinion. She made it, bodybuilder great again. To still praise from a con artist. And, she is, I would say, one of the most beautiful women in the sport. I've talked to ladies who met her and people that know her. I've seen her even do guest posing when I was in Savannah back in 2022. And that is the lovely Miss Andrea Shaw. Oh,
yes,
God. Oh,
yes,
God. I mean,
yes.
she's so beautiful. I mean, people tell me about her and how nice she is. And I learned this firsthand because, like I said again, shout out to my friend Eunice Martinez Kitchen and also JoJo Floops, who won Bad Rap. I'm always going to shoot here. Eunice was at the 2023 Orlando Olympia, the last year they had it in Orlando. And she ran to Andrea and she got me this issue of muscle development. And this is the last issue with her being the first woman in years to be on cover. And
Nice.
you rarely back in the day you rarely ever saw female bodybuilders. Back in the days you used to, but not as much like the last few years. So, and I quote my other guys: if you're good at something, never do it free. And sometimes, I get something like this. This is my reward. And when she took the time out, and I know KO, you're gonna talk shit about it. Forget you. This is my badge of honor. When the 5-time Miss Olympia, 4-time World Bodybuilding Women's Champion takes time and says she appreciates what I do and tell me she loves me. She's my girlfriend. I mean, I said like this. There was a movie called Color Purple years ago. It's about Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah Winfrey. There's a part in it where Oprah Winfrey, her character Sophia, gets out of prison. So she
Yeah.
sees because her character was married to her stepson-in-law, stepson Hoppo, and she sees Miss Sissy. She walks up to her, Oprah, saying like, she says, sitting in the jail so long, fits the rot, and I saw you. I knew there was a God. I knew there was a God. I'm gonna say that to Andrea if I ever meet her. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna look at her eyes and say, Miss Andrea Shaw, ma'am, I've been sitting in the house fixing the rot, and when I saw you, I knew there was a God. I knew we did it. I actually said it to Ashley Jones too, because she's petite, she's cute too. Here we got comments here. These guys say, shout out to my man, my man KL, stick it in here. Appreciate you, brother. Also, he says this, and my talk isn't see, in my talk ain't Eunice signed that, not Andrea. No, it was Andrea, not Eunice. Hater. And also, he says this. He says, what a cornball. Well, you're a cornball, ball, fool, whatever. Hater. I also got here from my man, Kristen Moore says, beautiful muscles. What is her name? Well, if you look in the comment section, you look at the thing, her name is Alexandrea Blankenship. She's an IFBB Physique Pro. Read, guys, we before we get here. So, but what I'm going to do is this because this cornball, no, he says he hated. I shouldn't do shit for you, cornball. Said, uh, uh, Eunice signed it. No, she did not because she told me Eunice would not lie to me like that. Also, said to my name, Lawrence Perkins. Hello, Miss Alexandria and George and everyone in
Hi,
the
Lord.
chat. Thank you, Lawrence. He's my man. He is the I call him the female body. But I shouldn't do this for his clown because you know what? The reason why I did this interview because I saw his interview video he did, and this clown here coming here clowning me. He's a chump. He see him. He's not a fan of female body. He's a fan of women with muscle, but not of the sport. So he learns some shit because until I educate him till I made you. Now I know you got a little more followers than me, but I made you. I built this shit, me brick by brick. But you know what, brother? I do this for you because we brothers. We cool. We're supposed to be brothers. So there's a video my man posted, and I'm going to show it to y'all. I'm not going to show all of it because you know what? For his attitude, his problem, he don't deserve it. So we're going to pull it up in a bit. It's a little thing he put together, a little ditty dedicated to the lovely Miss Blankenship. So you're gonna check this out. We're not gonna play it too long. We're not gonna waste my time. So or her time either. Here he is as he is talking.
Yo, it's about this young lady I spotted on Instagram, and her name is Alexandrea Blankenship. Her Instagram is Alex B IFBB Pro and Alex B 1983. Yes, one thing about this lady, she's an overall winner pro card earned women's bodybuilder 40 plus, first place, women's bodybuilder 35 lightweight, second place, women's physique class A 35 plus and 40 plus. And Alexandria is a custom designed bikini. She makes bikini for competitors. That's the simple way of me putting it. As you see, she's like a constant gym rat. And yeah, Alexandra is putting in that work. Her frame is 4'9". Her height is 4'9", I meant. Yeah, and she has a nice frame, period. So more clips of her.
Well, this is pretty good. It's a little bit long. It's just like a little over 7 minutes, but it's just mostly sort of working out and a little music in the background. But it's pretty good. He's really a man of his art. He likes doing these videos. Like I say, he's more a fan of women with muscle, not as much a fan of the sport. And sometimes we educate him a little bit because I do on Monday I do a podcast called Muscle Talk Monday. I have guests come on. We talk about things going on. I also have him on because he does interviews also. But I want him to understand and he's not as quick as me because I'm a little but anyway, here we have here a comment. He says this. He says I appreciate that, George, but you're still a nuts though. Yeah, I know I'm crazy. I told you before I'm crazy because it's just that again, I'm just a typical type of criminal. I love anarchy and chaos, and it completes me. And here we got here from my man. Shout out to my man Lawrence. He says, let it go, brothers. We have a guest. Hey, Lawrence. I'm like the man. It was an old movie called The Outlaw Jersey Whale, and he lived for the grudge. I could either be calm and exercise, or I live for the grudge. Sometimes I flip. Yeah. Also, we got here from shout out to the man. He says this. He says, yeah, you had a well put together physique, Alexandria. Yeah. Um, you're welcome. Stuff. He appreciates. So after because a lot of ladies would like to get the critique from the judges on what they see and what they think. What was the critique from the judge? I think, because I don't know if he was the judge for the master show. I know Tyler Manning was there, and also I think someone else was there, one of the big judges. What was the critique from them and with the feedback?
Um, I was able to catch the head judge and one of the other judges as well at the end of the awards show. Uh, so the head judge said that uh, unfortunately, with my height against taller ladies, you know, the shorter you are, you may not fare so well against taller ladies.
Mhm.
As you know, taller ladies, muscle. Even if you guys have the same level of muscle, the height on the physique really just kind of gets them points. So, uh, but we never focus on the things that we really can't control, right? So they wanted to see me just a little bit tighter. And also maybe lose just a little bit of legs. So I'm not quite sure that I want to lose my legs.
That's all you got left, your legs.
Can't deny it.
What can you? Because there's a lady who is actually a dwarf that's a bodybuilder. I don't think she competed yet. And also there's a lady who I think she just got a pro card. Her name is Kim, and she's probably about it's just as tall as you. And yeah, it's tougher. I think one thing that helps that is in the amateurs there's height and weight requirements. When the pro is anything goes. And the thing about if you look at divisions now, like as you talk about earlier, wellness has evolved. You look at how women's physique has evolved, figure has evolved. There's some women who should be going to certain divisions that fit their body type. But some I don't want to go there because I went. But the fact that you're growing, getting bigger, getting developed, you have to go where you fit best.
Yeah.
I think there's new divisions coming out. I'm not a fan of it. It's called Fit Model. Excuse me. Ha, I've interviewed a fit model competitor. She won an overall the show a while back, but she's going back to bikini. I'm hoping to have plans with a lady who also a fit model competitor, and we want to get her thoughts on it. Here's the thing is, it's a division that want everybody in, but here's what's going to happen. When you bring a division like that in to maybe try to replace the division that is supposed to have women's bodybuilding, brought in women's physique to replace it. Now look at it now. You look at someone like Natalia Cuejo. You look at someone like lady we just saw compete at the was it what show was this? I think it was Zama Benta at the Tampa Bay Pro, and she did a stint in women's bodybuilding. He was top 3 at a show. It's the evolution of the divisions and the athletes. But then when the judges don't kind of railing in a little bit and keep in the guidelines, and then also you have crossovers. That's the one thing I think they talk about. Crossovers kind of affected. But with fit model, you can't do crossover. Eventually, some of those girls who do fit model say, I'm not placing as well fit model. Let me go back to bikini. but you got to stay exclusive there. But then after a while, because these promoters make money from crossovers and amateurs, say,
Mhm.
okay, you can do fit model, you can do bikini. It's not too much difference, but there is a difference. If you look at the the difference between the size of the shoulders, the glutes.
Yeah.
They want too much gyration the glutes in division, like even in figure. And you look at people like Sarah Vigors, look like he can cut cheese on her butt. It's just that's the thing is, it's just the rules will just keep changing each time, and then they just you know
Yeah. And yeah, I totally agree with the fact that, unfortunately, yeah, judges, don't they may let it go for a little bit too long to where all the competitors start, getting sharper, bigger. They start really technically outgrowing their division, and that just kind of really skews what that division was originally, put up for. And yeah, and then they kind of have to do the hard correction and really start, like, punishing competitors for coming in, way too big, way too big in their division, just to, like, kind of reset it and rebalance. Or, they keep opening up these extra divisions. I'm very sure if you compared some of the Olympia competition picks from, like, mid 2010s, 2014, 2015, around the time where, like, Dana Lynn Bailey, she was the Olympian women's physique. You look at her pictures back then, and she would get she would get she wouldn't even land a top 10 at a pro women's figure with that division, with that physique. If you look at the state now. But yeah, I'm pretty sure bikini back in the mid 2010s is what division uh, fit division is supposed to be. It was bikini from 10 years ago, but it's because they've let it, just kind of grow and skew and kind of warp, for the past 10 years, where they can't really walk it back. They've got to throw on this whole new division, just create new divisions and throw in more divisions. And hey, maybe we'll see a men's fit model, you know or hey, I'm pretty sure you saw it when it came out. It was a little viral. The men's wellness. There was that Brazil show, and they they had, so maybe we'll see, a male wellness division come in. You know.
As long as Jim Manion is the head of the IFBB, it's not going to happen. I remember people talking about it. It was like it was going to no, it's not going to happen because you don't want to see some guys sticking out their butts wearing bikinis. At first, I thought it was when I looked at it, I thought it was a topless female bodybuilder at first. But then I saw the package. I said, "Oh shit, that's a dude." I mean, what the? Uh, I remember years ago they did try to do men's fitness, but it didn't do too well in America. But I heard somebody told me it says it's very popular in Europe and in other organizations. Here we got shout out to my man Lawrence. Shout out to Lawrence coming through here again. Usually says, Mr. Alexandra, you did an amazing job on stage by leaving a mark of your spirit on stage as well. Your legacy, you're the legacy that walks the face of the earth today. This guy, he knows how to talk. I call him female bodybuilding whisperer. And also, as he says this, everyone I check you later. I'm about to cut the grass today. I don't cut the grass rally. I got people that do that. I live in the projects. Also, you was fan of women of muscle than the sport. Well, I am, but also more fan of the sport. Also, I can go both ways and go either way. And said again, my crime, Alexandria. I am a muscle person. You ladies, you fit, beautiful, musculates excite me. Something about y'all, just when you're on that stage and you're ripped and shredded, I'm sorry. He said they see side every now and then, but it's about as you're an athlete and you are a woman and it's something appealing. I'm like this. I tell people about myself. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm too hot for some, but some people I'm just right. And that's the thing is that women with muscle maybe not be everybody's cup of tea, but there are guys out there who are fans who love ladies. As we know, we often call schmoes. But it's those who are fans are like, this is why I do the show, because this guy's out here. This is why I got guys here talking, because most of them may never ever meet a female bodybuilder. Only time you get close is like in a magazine or a video, or or watching a pay-per-view or competition. But it's something that's different for every man who's a fan of the sport. You can talk now. I just was talking.
Oh, no, you're good.
Yeah. I know. A lot of people say, "Where's the question?" No, it's not questions. Back and forth. That's why I don't. I ask questions, but also I want to have a good back and forth conversation. Get your thoughts. Well, we got here my man. Shout out to the man Kid. He says we have a love-hate relationship in this case. I was hating. Yeah, hate, like a quote from my man Sidney Johnson. Play hater here. Hate no more. Because that's the thing is but we also can be congratulations, because I congratulate him stuff, congratulations on me. And that thing is that doing this content about y'all ladies is something different. There's only a handful of us that focus on you ladies mostly, because you have a YouTube channel, and are you adding and growing more content for your channel?
Absolutely not. I don't have the time. Look, I have a full-time job. I work as a public servant, and I got a kid, and I go to the gym, and that takes up like 90% of my time, and plus my side gig and sewing up suits and putting gems on them. So I don't have a whole lot of time for social media. So you
Yeah.
know unfortunately, I watch a lot of YouTube. I'm not producing any content, unfortunately.
Yeah. So what do you say? You're a public servant. What do you do?
Um, I work for the federal government, on the government contracting side.
It's pretty good. It's lucrative right now where things are going in.
Yeah, whole,
Ooh,
whole
I'm.
another discussion. Oof,
Ooh, there's times I say,
it's like,
Obama, please come back. But
oof.
I'd be like, you remember that movie? What was that movie? I mean, it's a movie back in my head. Maybe I don't want to share my thoughts of it, but it's just this country is built on. I'm a descendant, and you also yourself are half descendant of stolen people,
Mhm,
and because my family was sharecroppers. My father was, my mother was, my grandfather was, and my great grandfather was a slave. This country was built on the blood of other people, be the people that were here originally and the people that were brought here. People
mhm.
need to understand this is not just about one group here having this, it's about everybody contribute to it. If you don't understand it, that's your problem. Right now, we're gonna have to suffer for a bit. And the thing is, suffering, how the quote Master Yoda, suffering makes us stronger sometimes. Suffering is better for you. And it helps because you know what? You understand the struggles. But then you have to wait to the end of the light and you see things better. It takes time. But right now, just woosah,
3.5 more years.
woosah,
Oof,
woosah.
oof.
Maybe something like I'm not gonna go. Nah. I don't wish anything. I don't know him. We have here a comment. Shout to man Lloyd. It says, "LOL, ha ha ha." Like the song, it's a thin line between love and hate. Well, for me right now, talking about this motherfucker is more hate than love. But my man Kia, we do have a little love and hate. We back and forth. He's a good dude. He shit starts on me. I shit starts on him. So when you're training the gym, what's that thing that you feel like is your best quality, your best feature, and we work on, and that thing you say, shit, it's oh God, I don't want to do it.
um Coincidentally, I want to say, my favorite session of the week is probably going to be back, and my least favorite is probably, it can be actually either legs or chest. I think most women, we don't like chest. We don't
Yeah, most bodybuilders generally
like
don't like legs. That's just general.
just
Most women don't like chest because you have to work the chest because You have to. So you don't want to have things like I have. So unless you have someone who have like huge gazongas and and they're fake. They can't give you weight. I mean, one lady sometimes hers will slide when she's doing the bench press, but you have to work on those strengths that makes you a better competitor, and
Mhm.
also work on those weaknesses that makes you a better competitor. I know working on like maybe something is your hamstring tie-ins. Your back is the back can make or break you on a show because there's some ladies who have some amazing backs. You want that good distance, you want that good width, you want good cap shoulders. You want to be the overall bodybuilder when you're on stage.
Yep, that's very true. Yep.
Yeah. This thing about the sport is so much involved with it, and people don't understand the work, the time, the sacrifice, the consistency. I know, like I talked to ladies saying, sometimes they have to give up a lot of things. Like, you know, you can't always go where you want to go. You have to go rest. You have to go recover. Like I said, you don't have enough time today to do content for your YouTube channel. It's somebody try to find a way. If the ones who lucky enough to have somebody who help them out, like you got 13 year old, what she did most of summer, nothing. Not like when I was coming up, I was always 10 years old working, but
Yeah.
now these kids don't have that. She could help you out a little bit. I know a lady who just competed. Her name is Marika Jones. Did two shows, two this week. Did a show on Friday. We're gonna get a show on Saturday. Her daughter helps her with her content.
Oh, that
But yeah. Shout out to Marika. And it's about finding your purpose and your way in this sport.
that's true. Okay, so what you're telling me is I need to actually just be okay with some child labor. All right.
Yeah.
Child slave labor. All right.
Well, it's not labor. As long as you feeding her and make sure she had, it's not labor. She's
You
doing.
want dinner tonight?
You made me fat. You made me this. You owe me. You owe me. Pay what you owe. Pay what you owe. It's like the bad. My mother had. I do. Hey, I was living having a part time job. I still had to put in. And I was already 16 years old.
Yeah.
But it's just like I said. It's just whatever works for you. That's
Hmm.
what it is. Especially social media is important for especially bodybuilders. It gets where you get attention, you get recognition. It can be a double-edged sword because sometimes I talk to ladies where they have to deal with how people comment on your posts. How then you have the flip side, the guys who can be a little bit weird.
Oh,
But you know what? Sometimes it's good to take a break away from where you can. But with me, I have to be on it because I'm doing content. And right now, I tell you right now, I'm charging. I'm like this. I got two cell phones and a laptop and a tablet. Sometimes I got like this week alone because after the Tampa, I was so busy. I'm doing content for his upcoming shows. Getting ready for his interviews. The Tampa alone, I still got some stuff I want to post, but I'm so focused on this, and this is really like I said again, you being the third interview I had this week. Actually, actually the fourth. You know, and sometimes I have times where I have maybe a drought a little bit. Might have one here, one there, but this is like I said, this is about. I had the time because, like I said, I don't work anymore. I mean, I was working for a good while. I had several jobs. I was working since I was 16. My first job was 16, but I used to work in the fields with my brothers and sisters, my mother. My first job was 16 at a gas station until that place closed down until I was about 30. Worked at textiles for 13, 14 years. I worked at a processing plant. I went to college for a little bit. I worked in a strip club for about 5 years. That's not what you hear that. But yeah, that's the interesting story. See, the strip club guys are like, hey George, you work in a strip club? Say, hey, dude, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes, hey, it's just
hey, you got to do what you got to do.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing is, it's just that's like about bodybuilders. You got to do what you got to do because this sport is so much work to it. Not just the people got to understand the part of the persistency, the focus, not motivation as much as discipline.
Yes. 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 Motivation is like a lot of people like to focus on that word too. Like a lot of times folks will come up to me and they'll ask like, how do you stay motivated? And I'm like, bitch, motivation left the first couple of hours in my 13-year journey. That motivation was never there. Like motivation is a fleeting idea. Um, it is at this point for well over a decade now. what has kept me in the gym is discipline. It is this is a disciplined practice. It's been ingrained and weaved into my daily life schedule. That is what you need. You need some discipline. You don't need motivation. What is motivation? What is
Mm.
motivation? Motivation doesn't give you, it doesn't carry you. It'll give you the idea to, you know, to try it out, but you really need that discipline in there underneath to continue to carry you through.
Yeah, I know this with motivation. It could change from with the wind. You could get up one morning, it's raining. You say, "No, I don't feel like going to the gym." Then you have the discipline which says, "You know what? Let me take a run because it's nice and cool today and it's raining. I just put a nice jacket and a parker, and I can run a few miles, get some more work in, come back, and then get a rest, get ready to go to work." That's the thing about it. You have to have that discipline.
Yep.
Motivation doesn't mean much of anything. I remember I had a debate with someone who really she explained it to me where I say, okay, now I understand. Because when I say come these ladies, I become friendly with. They tell me things that I think like when I used to work in my job, I work with women a lot. They work in textiles, work in strip club. And when women feel comfortable with telling, especially us men, something, sometimes men we want to be problem solvers, but then they sit back and just listen to the situation. And then you don't give them a problem, you don't try to solve it. You just listen and then maybe give your thoughts. They appreciate that. It's about anybody who gets the sport has to understand the sacrifice you got to make, not just your time, your money, your body. I mean, it's so extreme that every so often we hear stories of people dying. But I've talked to a lady who's a boxer, and there's more boxers have died in the ring, but because that sport is so mainstream, mainstream and recognizable, it's overlooked, compared to other sports where there's use of performance enhancers. But because it's always say it's cheating, it's not cheating. It's a way to help you process. It's to help you grow. It's not about you can't hit the ball harder with steroids. You can't run faster with steroids. It helps you with your recovery, whatever it is, steroids, pads, whatever. But if you don't have the talent, you can. These guys can take all you can take in performance enhancers, whatever, anabol, telavol, test, whatever. But if you don't follow the diet, don't consistent, you don't work out, you don't train, you don't be, disciplined, you're not going to look like, guys like Derek Lungford or guys like Nick Walker or Andrea Shaw or, I think right now he's going to compete, you know, this coming weekend, quite a few other ladies I know, I think they're going to do Atlanta. You know, if you don't have that discipline and that strive for sacrifice, you cannot go as far as you want in the sport.
That's very true. Yes. And yeah, PEDs, I think the way that I've explained this before, they allow you the opportunity to kind of jump above what your biological ceiling is, right? Because there is a hard biological ceiling of just how much muscle you can put on. Especially like depending on your age. If you're over a certain age, it's over for us. It's biologically biological age wise. It's been over for me, and it's all downhill from
It's
here on
it's it's
out.
I don't deny that I have, like I said again, coming back to my trip, I got two bad knees like Stone Cold Steve Office because I have
Yeah,
arthritis, it's genetic. Carrying this around it's not good, but
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
I'm a little lighter than it was before.
Yep.
But
And
still, I was talking to
for
yeah,
the recovery, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It helps your body recover more than it's naturally able to do.
Mm.
It, so it helps break those ceilings, but you have to still be breaking the ceiling. You still need to be the one jumping over, putting in the work to break that ceiling. Or yeah, it helps with recovery. Yeah, you still need to be breaking down, tearing down your muscle during those hard lifting sessions consistently, overly over and over again, plus getting in the right type of nutrition, in with that PED to improve the recovery, because the recovery phase is that's when we build the muscle, right? So when there's always that huge that huge misnomer that, oh, all you got to do is just take some steroids and then bam, and I'm gonna be like Popeye. It's like magic. It's overnight. It's and suddenly I have muscle. I'm like, man, no,
Bitch,
no,
please.
no.
No, it's not that simple. It was that simple. Everybody would do it, but it's
Yeah,
not. It's. I think most people don't have the mindset to make those sacrifices, have the patience. Most people, it's like their mind is like a little kid. You show them a little shiny little thing, and it's distracting. I was doing good for a while, but then my car broke down. I was going to, it's not a bodybuilder gym. I know yes, that's your favorite gym. It's Planet Fitness. I was going there a couple times out of the week. One time I had a little setback. My doctor put me out for a while. I was dehydrated because of my heart condition. I had to take a Lasix so to move the fluids off my heart, and I
yeah,
wasn't drinking enough water like I should. And then I was laid off for a while, and then my car broke down, and I said, I can't go back. So, but I'm thinking about what got me started was I was doing exercises at home. So I'm thinking about I need to get back onto that. It's just like I said, you got to find the discipline because my motivation has changed but yeah, it's a lot. But one question I like to ask you, ladies, especially as being a big man, being a fat man, I love food. I can't help it. It tastes good, the right food. What
hmm
after your show? Because I was about to leave, a friend of mine, her and her husband, Eunice and Mr. Willie, they took me out to eat. Tell me, share with me, Alex, what was that thing that you like? That thing you desire? That thing, as I often say, make you stranger, but make you stronger. So what is it? What was it?
You mean like the post contest meal?
Yeah.
Well, this last Tampa, I didn't even have a post contest cheat meal. I My coach texted me, and um as you know, the master show, it didn't end until like after 11 p.m. that night, that evening. So there were a lot of ladies, by the way, like when we were all sitting and waiting for the awards show to get on, because there were so many men's physique athletes. So many, so many. And we were sitting there just dying. We were sitting upstairs and we were just all dying. We're like, are they still on men's? Are they're still on men's, you know but a lot of ladies, they were canceling the reservations in the back. They were trying to find places to order food that were still open, you know that could where they could just get something sent to their room and things like that. So you know what, I ate I ate some turkey breast that I had in my little mini fridge back in my hotel room. Drank some protein powder, and I conked out. I had the uh, greatest like solid 9 hours of sleep. Yeah,
Yeah, to me, it didn't make so sense to have that show that late. It should have started at 3. It would have been
yeah,
better to start at 3 or 2 o'clock when you've been done maybe about by 9 or 10. I know when we left, me, Willie, and Eunice, we were going to just one place, but they were shut down because they shut down the kitchen. They had the bar open. We had to go to other places. It was a decent place, a little hole in the wall, other side. I got myself a hot dog, some French fries, and some chicken wings. Mr. Willie had a plate sampler, and Eunice ate from off of each of us.
yeah,
And it was a nice little place. It was a little sports bar thing. At one point, we saw this man and woman. They were both drunk and they were arguing. Maybe back in the days when I was working in the club. When we started to we had little situations where sometimes they used to break up girls strippers who used to fight, or you have people that throw out. I mean, one time some guy shot in the club, and I got fired because I didn't pat the guy. Well, I don't think it was me. It was probably the other guy. But I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that thing about food, especially when you're on the stage, this is people don't understand. Again, especially as guys who are fans of y'all ladies in bodybuilding, don't understand that you're tired, you're dehydrated, you're starving. Your body is going through something. Even though we see these beautiful, magnificent bodies in great shape, vascular, pumping, tan, covered in baby oil, no diddy. So, and it's just that people don't understand what y'all going through. The starvation, being on prep and diet, sometimes dehydrating yourself because you want to look very vascular, get that pop. The everyday fan may not know what you're going through. What we see is these beautiful pump, like who's that short little thing? I want to eat her up. Was your daughter with you that day, or was it just you?
No, it was just me. She's gone with me to a couple of shows. But because they run so long, yeah, and I certainly don't blame her. I asked her, I was like, hey, you want to go down to Georgia with me? And she's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. She doesn't want to sit around, and I don't blame her. It's tough for the family, and that's the support team when they go and they have to sit there and wait, just to see, their athlete, member that they're supporting, that they're making this journey up to go see them in person, step on stage on the show, and basically be there for 8+ hours, sometimes a lot right along with them. So yeah, she's gone to a show. She's gone with a show with me in the past, back in one of my OCB shows, and this one in particular was only about like maybe 4 or 5 hours, which was actually, it was pretty fast. It was pretty fast going, but that was more than long enough for a child who was 6, 7, 8 years old at the time to be like, you know, to never want to do that again. So
Yeah.
like, and it's especially tough because she was so young at the time.
Yeah, I know it was a train trip for me because from North Carolina, I'd go to Dillon, South Carolina. It's like next door to me where the train station was at. Got on there. We had a couple of stops, and I had to wait at a train station in Savannah for the next. That was the same train station where I went to. I went to Savannah Pro back in 2022. I had to wait there for 5 or 6 hours for my next train, and then the same way back. I remember this is a true story happened to me. My first trip to Savannah, I thought I had enough time to catch a train. I missed it. But I waited for a good 3 more hours. My niece who lived in Atlanta came and she drove her old uncle home. And thank you, Marlene. I love you. She served our country in the United States Army, both also her younger brother, my nephew Brian. But yeah, I think you have to love somebody, support, especially I know your parents, have they ever been to your shows or what they're thinking about it?
No, no. I tell my dad about him all the time, and he's just like, oh, okay. he's he's in his own little world. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'm not in contact with my mom, so yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I know with some situations, I know ladies tell me that sometimes the parents don't understand it. Mothers don't want their daughters to say, we already have a child and you were married, so that's not, but I think say like, "Oh, darling, I don't want you to get so pumped up." And then your dad might say, well, I had a little girl. I don't want no little boy, so I don't want you to be. But that's the thing is, they are from a generation that understand. But it's good when every time we get an opportunity to talk to ladies, tell me how their family support them, they do their cheering, they clap for them. I mean, your dad could say, "That's my little girl up there, yeah." And it's a guy, "That's your little girl, yeah, she's a snack. Hey, this is my child." But it's good that you have people like your daughter, friends, your coach, your trainer, people who know who support you because this is a tough sport.
Yeah.
A lot of sacrifice and time you have to make.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and
Mhm.
we definitely appreciate the support. We rely on the support. We depend on the support. So
Yeah, we got here a man Josh Simpkins coming through. He says, "What's good, George and Alexandria? What's good to you, brother?" And these guys like say, "Hey, I say Alex. When I get a new girl on here, these guys like the episode of Chappelle Show when Charlie Murphy's hanging out and he meets Prince and he said, 'Yo,' and he takes this guy named Nikki Free. Remember that? We said like Nikki Free. So he was supposed to be part of the group Shalimar, but people thought he was a female, but he actually a dude. Say, yo, Shalimar got a new girl. She fine as a motherfucker. That's how they act when we get these ladies on here like yourself. Say, yeah, George got a new girl. She fine as a motherfucker. They get excited. Come on here. So we're not gonna hold her much too longer. I appreciate the opportunity. And I appreciate to meet her. Maybe someday I might get to meet her again. It was for me. Ran some ladies that I did interviews with. A couple of ladies I didn't think they were coming to the show, but I still got to talk to her a bit and hang with my friend and seeing what's going on in shows. Like I said, I'm thinking about next year going to another show. I'm thinking about getting the real ID so I can get on a train. So so it's easy. I don't have one of those. I don't know. I'm not really. I know it's fashion, but I'm old fashioned. I either keep 2 feet on the ground if I can.
Mhm.
But I'm thinking about maybe. There's one show I wanted to go. They were going to have Rich Bodybuilding. That was Texas, but they dropped it. I wanted to go to Atlanta because, like I said, I was seeing my niece and my nephew. so I might go next year. And also, they just had Two Below Pro, and they added women's masters 40 and 50. But because I'm a big fan of women's bodybuilding, and I hope maybe next year that promoter adds the women's open. I will go that shows. I support women's bodybuilding. I support the other divisions, but I'm more fan of women's bodybuilding. That's the sport that started it all for everything else.
Yeah.
So what would you say to somebody who get into sport? What would you, as your experience, would you share with somebody who's thinking about getting into bodybuilding?
For both men and women, just know that this is an expensive hobby.
Yes.
So even if you are a guy and you're not going to spend as much, still do expect to spend a couple of $1,000 in a year for your sport. The other things that I would probably say is you absolutely have to follow your prep coach. So if you have a good competition prep coach, some of us there is a certain like A type personality that goes along with a lot of like competitors, and we're usually all drawn into bodybuilding, um, and we don't like to listen to when people are trying to tell us how to eat or train and what have you. So you're gonna have to let that go and put trust into the person that you're paying a couple $100 a month, to put you in through this contest prep. So, really listen to the person that you are you are spending all your money on, and also, um, if you there's going to be a lot of times where you may not agree with what the judge says about you, or like you're not going to agree with the placing and whatnot. This sport is very huge on sportsmanship, so just keep that in mind that you know you're always going to disagree with at some point in time with what the judges say about how you look, what you need to change, and what have you. Uh, Understand that in the world of bodybuilding, uh, the judges do ultimately set the standards for the divisions. So you may not agree with it, but uh, you know, if you want to be in that division, you got to work towards what the judges are setting the bar at, or consider, moving to a different division. But overall, don't. And also, if you're not comfortable with, I know a big thing elephant in the room is, about PED usage. uh if you are not comfortable with using something that, or you want to stay, if you want to stay like natty, lifetime natty, don't ever think that you have to not be natty in order to enjoy the sport. There's a lot of natural bodybuilders that absolutely love the sport. And if even if you are not natural and you're enhanced, don't be afraid to if your coach is telling you you have to now take all of these other things you're kind of concerned or worried about, you never had experience. Don't be afraid to like say, hey, I'm not going to take this, I'm not going to take that. This is what I'm comfortable with. So, you know, but aside from that, yeah, just take care of yourself, because you're the only this is your body, and you're the only person who's really gonna, you know, be responsible for taking care of it. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for any recommendations that I have.
Well, that's appreciate. That's pretty good. Everybody has a different stories how they got into it and what they need information. I mean, just be smart. And also, even though you have a coach, also it's good also to follow your own instinct. Sometimes the coach might be thinking this, but sometimes you got to think for yourself too.
Yes.
It's a two-way street. It's a two-way relationship,
Mhm.
and it's good that you again have support. If it's not just from your coach, your daughter, your friends, that's important because this sport can be mentally, physically, emotionally, financially draining. I know ladies who do,
Ooh,
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, food, travel. Some ladies do GoFundMe. Some ladies we do certain sites because it's a way to make money, but it's not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a big fetish into the bodybuilding world. I think more dudes will get more push up on it. The men, as I call them, the guys, they are the if you know the pimping game, the bottom bitch. They get more attention. They get a little more money. We just saw Arnold shot up the Mr. Olympia, no, the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic prize money to nearly almost $250,000. So I was thinking, the women, y'all getting chump change, but because everybody comes to this they're the guys. No offense. I speak these guys, but there's nothing about them. It may not be the 80s, but I'm down with the ladies, And that's the thing is that I wish there was more opportunities, not just for all competitors. Ooh, there she goes. Yeah, she got a little
Oh,
problem.
sorry. My cat's a little asshole. So
That's
he,
the it's not the first time I had dogs, cats.
yeah,
It's not the first time. We don't. I got a cat, but it's not my cat. We sit on my porch sometimes.
yeah,
He's just a stray. But we used to have dogs and cats growing up as kids. We used to have fish and some birds. But the fish died and the birds died and one escaped. But no animals here. But it's about the process of who you are as a person, where you want to go, how far you go. If you feel comfortable with something good, you don't want to push something where it may affect you in your life.
yep,
Be smart and just do the right thing for yourself. And
yep.
also, people, reach out to these people. Like if you want to follow Alex, her link in the description of this live stream. You want to support her. Also, if you're a competitor, hey, she can make money from making suits. I know the cost of suits. That's almost the price of a mortgage, a rent, car note. That's some people's budget for the week when it comes to shopping. The price of a suit. She has nice suits. I share with some ladies. Some ladies like them. Maybe you might get a few customers. Maybe it's the opportunity for yourself as a person, as an athlete, to grow. And here again, guys, if you're interested in supporting her as an athlete, as a woman, as a bodybuilder, reach out in genuine interest. Don't be this guy. Say, hey, Alex, you're a cute little thing. You know what? You kind of got those big doe eyes. But hey, stop. Hold up, brother, hold up. This is what you do. You posted Mrs. Blankenship, if I may ask. My name is such and such and such. I run a little company. We like to promote and help athletes in their path. So if this is something that works with you, and also you are also a business lady, if we can maybe come together, merge together, and maybe advise your business and also advance mine, maybe in the future we can help you in your process in as a bodybuilder and an athlete. So, madam, if you're interested, if you feel this is something that you feel comfortable with and feel like works in your financial goals or whatever else you want to do, we are comfortably happy to have you as one of our brand ambassadors. So let you know, madam, if you're interested, we grab the papers and take everything else on our end.
Was were you were you actually offering? I
No, I can't do that. I'm broke. I'm broke.
Okay. I was like, what is
I'm
he offering?
broke. The song goes like, I'm young, black, and rich. No, I'm old, broken, black. That's me. I wish that's what I think. I said this. I wish there was people can do that for some of y'all competitors, especially as the top level 1% in the Olympia can make some good change, but everybody else is struggling. Even become a pro, you have to start all over again. And I saw a lady who just did 2 shows within 24 hours, and I think she's done for the season. But
Yeah.
again, ma'am, we appreciate the time you're giving us. Wish you best of luck. She's peak week. Look at her right now. Peak week for the Atlanta Pro.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. I know it's tired. You want to get out of this and go to sleep. So you have anybody you want to shout out to?
Um, I do want to say, I do want to say best of luck. She's probably already stepped on stage, but Vera Maduem, uh, she
Figure.
she comes from OCB as well. So Vera's my girl. She is my sister. She was an amazing competitor with OCB, and she won her pro card at Ben Weider's Natural Pro AM. Won not just Masters but the Open. Uh, for her IFBB Pro card. She's been killing it, and she is still a lifetime natural athlete. It is her. She's got her genetics are
because
are
she's Nigerian. Because I know a guy I know, he interviewed her, Doctor Viria. She's a doctor,
yes,
pharmaceuticals.
of
Yeah. A friend of mine interviewed her a while back. I've been trying to get her on here. But you know what? I'm like this. I'm not chasing you. If I ask you and we try to, I got other people to invest in. But I think she has a beautiful physique. I honestly do. I remember when she did Triple O early this year, and she just looked amazing. She
yep.
won the Master 40 class. Like I said, one of my quotes from my master, Raza Go to Demon's Head: "Be aware, surrounds all time, your master way. Never go to show footing to your killing blow." But anybody else you want to shout out before we let you go?
Um, I want to do a quick shout out to my coach, Derek Natcher. You're a real one. Check out Loud Performance Training if you are seriously looking to not only just like uh, do a do over with your lifestyle, get in get in some professional help with that, or with competition prep. So, but aside from that, thank you for the opportunity, George. It's been awesome talking to you.
Well, again, to quote one of my favorite movies, Batman Begins. I know Kale hates it, but I love this quote because it's a great movie. It's one of the best in the Batman trilogies next to Dark Knight. At the end of it, when Gary Oldman, as Jim Gordon says to Batman, Christian Bale says, "I never got a chance to say thank you." And he turned around and said, "You never have to. That's why I do this. This gives me a purpose to give y'all ladies a voice where there's only a few handfuls. People like my man KL, Female Bodybuilding Channel. There's my man David from Female Body Forum, where I got to meet in Tampa. Also, there's Claudio, a hardcore female body fan. My man, also Jeremy, a female muscle. We are the ones who want to give y'all the voice that you can share for people who need to understand. Because being a woman in the sport is a lot of sacrifice time you have to make. And most people can't do what y'all do, but you know what? It's not meant for everybody.
This damn cat.
Yeah.
Over here.
Yeah. Well, that's a cat. A cat could be a cat. That's why I like dogs. Here you go, my man KL, where he says, that's my George. Yeah, whatever. And also he says, okay, Dark Knight. No, I'm not a Dark Knight. I'm the other guy. And before I go, Alex, I want to tell you something. You are beautiful. Oh, yes. Yeah. I'm sorry about him. He's just a criminal. He just likes anarchy and chaos, like that. But folks, she's gonna be doing the Atlanta Pro, which is coming up next weekend, next Saturday. Linda Murray, the 8th-time Miss Olympia. She's been fighting for the sport. I would love to go. I actually saw her when she did Savannah. That was one of her shows. I wish I got a chance to talk to her. Maybe someday in the future I might. Anybody who's out there interested in supporting her in her path, reaching genuine interest. Also, if she sells suits, if you're a competitor who maybe want to, especially the amateurs or just somebody who just got a pro card, want to pay a few bucks, and there's, not getting a suit that break your leg or break you over the head, reach out to her. Anyway, I always shout out to my guest, my man Josh Simpkins, my man Carol the Wanderer. Shout out to my brother Lawrence Perkins. Shout out to all the guys who's in here, Daniel King. Anybody who watched this video, follow, subscribe, like, support. Reach out to these ladies with genuine interest. They can use support. If you're someone looking to sponsor a female bodybuilder and you have a plan, not a certain kind of plan, a plan that's genuine and works and is also respectful, reach out. Don't be that weird guy. You get more, I tell you this, you get more with a silk glove than with an iron fist. I know what you're doing with that iron fist. So, folks, I went again, Alexandrea Blankenship for her time. She's a lovely lady. She is as I call her, she's a soul sister.
Yeah.
All righty. So thank you, man. I appreciate it and best of luck.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, folks. This is man always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Don't like, subscribe. I'm out. Good night, good luck, and God bless.